Good morning, everyone. Let us start with today's class without any delay. I know since last few days our classes are getting disturbed, either due to some or the other technical issues are there, or some of the health issues are there from my side. So I really apologize for that. I'm really sorry for that. Okay, but I cannot say this thing for sure and certain that this is not going to be repeated. But I will try my level best to go ahead with the smooth classes there onwards. So let us start with our new chapter as we have already completed food and health. Book exercises are left. I'll be just providing you the PDF of that. You can complete it that. No need to worry for that. So let us start as per the syllabus. If you would have seen, so we have generally 3 to 4 chapters are there, including your this one, germs and the diseases, and your skeletal systems, and your one more states of matter is also there. So let us start with germs and diseases without any delay. I hope you would have got your results as well for the PT2. So let us start with this. Okay. So in this case, this is our chapter number 9, basically, that is the germs and the diseases. So here we are going to learn the different types of microbes. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the microbes? How the diseases are being spread either with the help of these microbes or with some other ways. How can we prevent the communicable diseases? That is, how can we prevent the spread of the diseases from one person to another or from one place to another? And congenital diseases, that is, and the diseases which are present in you from the birth, that is known as your congenital diseases, including your allergies as well. Okay, so we'll be discussing about all these things in this chapter. Sorry. Starting with the very first one, if you are able to see here, that is Priya falls ill very often. So, which of the following habits should she adopt to prevent the diseases? Tick the correct option in the box given below. So, washing the hands before every meal, that is a correct option. Taking a bath every day, of course, this is also a correct one. Eat food from roadside vendors, this may not be good. Okay, so this will be a cross. Wear clean clothes, correct. Play in mud and dirt, no. Okay, so except for your this roadside vendors, food from the roadside vendors, and play in the mud and dirt, rest all are the correct habits which she should adopt in order to protect herself from different kinds of micro infections or illness or anything like that. Okay, when we are talking about the microbes basically, so always remember, let me tell you one more thing here. So when we are talking about this one, basically microbes, so always remember microbes or microorganisms. Meaning is same. Okay, so don't get confused. Okay, microbes or microorganisms, the meanings are same. That is, if the microbe or microorganisms, any one is mentioned, it means that we are basically the we are basically talking about these smaller organisms only, which cannot be seen by our naked eyes, since they are very small. Okay, just hold on for a second, please. Hold on. Okay, sorry for the interruption here. We were discussing about this part. So these microbes or microorganisms, they are very small, and that is why they cannot be seen. That is why they can't be seen by our naked eyes. So we use some or the other kinds of instruments like microscopes, which help us to see these smaller objects very clearly. And the only function of these microscopes are, that is, they magnify these smaller objects to such a great number of times, that is, even as small as bacteria, fungi, or anything like those microbes, they are also visible in these microscopes. And basically, if you are talking about the microbes, so basically we have five different types of the microbes are there. That is, when we classify the microbes, so we have different five types of microbes are there. And they are basically your bacteria, viruses, protozoa, algae, and your fungi. Okay, we'll be dealing all with them. We'll be studying about all of them in detail, one by one. Okay, as when we are talking about some of the microbes, they are useful, while some of them they are harmful as well. Okay, like, let us go ahead with this. Okay, if you are able to see here, this is the pictorial representation of the different types of microorganisms which are there, like protozoa, fungi, bacteria, viruses, algae, or anything like that. Okay, so apart from this, okay, first and the foremost thing is the useful microbes or the advantages of the microbes. Like, the very first one is your fixing nitrogen. Fixing nitrogen, let me tell you, next year you'll have the chapter air, in which you'll be studying about the composition of air. Okay, and most probably you would have studied as well. Okay, not at all a issue. So in this case, that is when we are talking about fixing nitrogen, so nitrogen is the majority of component of our atmosphere. That is, if we talk about the composition of air, let me tell you that as well. Okay, if you try to understand this part, that is when we are talking about the composition of air, so we have 78% nitrogen is there in our atmosphere, followed by we have 21% is your oxygen, and the remaining 1% is your other gases, like hydrogen, helium, lithium, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and various other things. So it does not matter, okay, what are the other things are there. Basically, we have to focus, basically, we have to deal with the different things. Here, the spelling of composition is wrong. Okay, so now let us go ahead with this. Let me tell you, this nitrogen, when we are talking about, though it is present in maximum amount, that is 78%, but still plants are not able to use it directly, just like they do it for carbon dioxide. All of you know that when you have studied about photosynthesis, so you have come to know that is, in the case of photosynthesis, the plants used to take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil, and in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they are able to convert it into food, that is glucose, and oxygen is also liberated. So just like the plant is able to take carbon dioxide, in this case the plants are not able to take nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. And this nitrogen is the major component of the protein, or basically it is required by the plants, animals, and everyone for making up of the proteins and various other substances. Basically, whatever proteins we are eating, like we are eating soya bean is there. Okay, we have pulses are there, which are rich sources of protein. So protein, whenever we are talking about, so actually we are talking as one of the component is your nitrogen as well. So that is when we are eating the pulses or the soya bean, so actually we are taking in nitrogen in our body. Okay, now, apart from this, it is, since plants are not able to take this nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, that is why there is certain mechanisms by which the atmospheric nitrogen is provided to the plants with the help of certain bacteria, which is known as nitrogen fixing bacteria. These nitrogen fixing bacteria, let me tell you one of the names of this part. Okay, so the name of this nitrogen fixing bacteria is, that is your rhizobium. Rhizobium is the name of the bacteria which is present in the root nodules of the leguminous plants and which help in fixing the atmospheric nitrogen and thereby providing nitrogen to the soil. If you are able to see this picture clearly, so you'll be able to see here. If, now I hope it is much more clear. Yeah, okay. If you are able to see here in this figure, this is the root has been magnified, okay, and here what you are able to see, that is some kind of bulging kind of a structure is there. These are basically the nodules which are present in the roots, and inside these nodules only we have the nitrogen fixing bacteria, okay. And what do these bacteria do? These bacteria, they used to take this atmospheric nitrogen, convert it into soluble forms like nitrates and nitrites, and provide it to the plant, and thereby both of them, they are helping each other to carry out their life processes. How both of them, they are helping each other? As all of you know, that bacteria is a uh, living thing, but it cannot prepare its own food, so it gets food from the plants, and in turn the bacteria provides nitrogen to the plants for the proper growth and development. And remember this part, that is, if the plant if the nitrogen is lacking in the plants or in the animals or anywhere, then we are going to face some or the other deficiency problems. Like you must have studied about the deficiency problems, like your kwashiorkor is there, marasmus is there. These are the deficiency diseases caused due to deficiency of proteins in our body. The next usefulness of this microbe is your making medicines and your vaccines. When we are talking about the medicines and the vaccines, as no need to discuss some other examples, let us discuss some of the current examples which is going on. Just like if you talk about our this COVID-19, this pandemic situation which is going on, so all of us, we know that when this virus came in around 2019, so we were not having the medicines for that, okay, but slowly and slowly the scientists and various other people, researchers, they now have developed a vaccine for that. The medicine has not been developed, but they have developed a vaccine for that, so that we are able to fight with this, and our treatment period can be increased, so that we can recover quickly by using various kinds of medicines and your medications. All right, so here not only these microbes, they are being utilized for making the medicines, they are also being used for making various kinds of cough syrups, medicines, and your vaccines as well. Antibiotics, when we are talking about, these are those medicines which destroy the disease causing microbes, okay. Now see, there is a little bit controversy with this line, okay. In class 8, when you will be studying the chapter microorganisms, again you have the same chapter in detail, okay. So there you will come to know that actually nobody antibiotics are not able to destroy it, okay, especially the viruses, okay. Antibiotics can act upon all the different kinds of these microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae, and everything, but it will not be able to act on the viruses. So that is why these antibiotics, they are being taken along with the normal medicines, so that the treatment and the recovery can be made faster. If you are talking about the vaccines, so penicillin was antibiotics. So penicillin was the first antibiotic which was developed from the fungus. Fungus is the singular form of the microbe fungi. Okay. Okay. So now if we go ahead with this, so we have the microbes are also used to make the vaccines. Vaccines protect us from many diseases. Just now we are going ahead with that one as well. Okay. Digestion. When we are talking about the digestion, so all plant food contains fibers, okay. Human beings cannot digest the fibers directly, that is why the microbes present in the digestive system of the human beings and herbivores help them to digest the fibers. They also protect the intestine from the disease causing microbes that may enter the digestive tract, and they also help in the production of certain vitamins. Now let me tell you this part here, that is, our body also contains certain kind of bacteria which is present in the small intestine and various other places, as a result of which, where the uh, where they are helping in the digestion process. And not only that, uh, uh, not only that, the if we talk about the cows or the buffaloes, basically the grass eating animals. So I would like to tell you that we cannot eat the grasses because we cannot digest it. So this also you'll be studying in class 7. That is, in the case of cows or the buffaloes, they have the cellulose digesting bacteria are present. These cellulose digesting bacteria, they help in digesting the cellulose which is present in the grasses. Since this bacteria is absent in our cases, that is why we are not able to digest the grasses. Baking, that is yeast, is whenever anyone asks you yeast is a fungus, I would like to tell you that is in place of that, if you are going to tell this definition, this will be much more better. Like okay, when we are talking about yeast, so yeast is a unicellular fungus. Okay, unicellular, that is, it is made up of single cell only. Okay, not more than one cell. So this is the meaning of unicellular, that is made up of only one cell. Entire body is made up of only one cell only. Okay, so remember this thing, that is what is yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungus which is used in your bread baking industry and everywhere. So this fungus which is used for making the bread, when mixed with the flour, the yeast helps the bread to rise and makes it soft and fluffy. We'll be studying this part in detail, okay, a little later. That is how this it is being done. Okay, sorry for the interruption here, as this was there. So if we go ahead with this, we have, that is, in the case of making curd and cheese as well. That is our curd, that is dahi. In Hindi, we call this to be, which we consume it in our day-to-day life. That also contains a bacteria which is known as lactobacillus. Okay, as it has been said to pronounce it in the same way so that you'll be able to remember the spelling as well. That is your lactobacillus. So this changes the milk to the curd. That is, you must have observed your mothers or parents whenever they have to prepare the curd. What they used to do, they used to just take a very small a spoon or a half a spoon of the curd, and they used to put it into the milk and they mix it. What happens in the morning? They used to keep it for overnight, and in the morning they used to find that entire milk gets converted into a curd which you consume it. All right. Decomposition is a very important process of these microorganisms. Why the decomposition is a very important process for the microorganisms? Just because these microorganisms, they feed on the dead plants and animals, and they decompose them. Decompose them means उनको सड़ा देते हैं, खा लेते हैं, and as a result of which they help in cleaning the environment. All right. So when the microbes feed on the dead plants and animals, they form the compost. That is your dead plants and animals, it gets converted into compost, and they are known as your decomposers. When this compost is mixed with the soil becomes rich in nutrients. All right. And rich in nutrients means what? That is, the soil will become fertile so that more and more plant growth and development can occur here. Talking about the next one, that is your harmful microbes. When we are talking about the harmful microbes, so remember, harmful microbes means all those microbes which are dangerous for us, which are causing some or the other diseases to a person. Okay, now see, since the microbes, they are very small, they cannot be easily observed by our naked eyes. That is why it a proper care, utmost care has to be taken so that the microbes may not enter into our body and may not cause any kinds of diseases in us. All right. So here, when we are talking about the harmful microbes, so all those microbes which cause diseases, they are known as your germs. Okay, and we have another name for them as well. They are also known as pathogens. Remember, let me tell you that. Okay, the disease causing microorganisms are called as the disease causing microorganisms are called as germs, which is given in your book, or pathogens. Both are correct. Okay, pathogens you will be studying in class 8th. The same names are there, germs or pathogens. Next is, that is, since and they are present everywhere, okay, in the air, in the water, in the soil, on the books, pen, pencils, and everywhere. Okay, as we have seen during the onset of this pandemic situation, that is when the COVID started. So there were lots of videos and various other things which were showing us, which were telling us that is how this bacteria was, how this viruses can be present in everywhere, wherever we are going to touch, whether it is the railings of the staircase or it is the handles of the door or anything like that. Okay, so that is why this these microbes can be present everywhere, wherever they will be getting the space, they can go ahead with that. Now, how the germs are going to enter into our body? And since for they can only enter through the holes which are present in our body, like eyes, nose, mouth, and your wounds. When we are talking about the wounds, basically that is the hurt or the injury which you get while playing or while fighting or while doing any kind of other physical activities. Through that only the germs can enter into your bodies. They spread diseases from one person to another in various ways, like cough and cold. If we take it to be the best example, you must have seen that if any one member of your family starts suffering from cough and cold, okay, so slowly and slowly it gets transferred to other members of the family as well. Okay, so this is why, this is just because of the communicable diseases. That is, your cough and cold is a communicable disease because it gets transferred from one person to another. That is, in the case of cough and cold, I would like to explain you here. That is, in the case of cough and cold, what happens when a person is coughing or is sneezing? Okay, when the person is coughing or is sneezing, in that case, the maximum when the person is coughing or is sneezing, thousands of viruses, they come out from the mouth of that person, or from the while sneezing from the nose of that infected person, or the person who is suffering from cough and cold. And as a result of which, when these viruses may enter into the healthy person, then that healthy person may also start suffering from the cough and cold. Okay, so all microbes are not germs. Only harmful microbes that cause diseases are called germs. Okay, this has been already discussed, because usefulness of the microorganisms we have seen. So basically here when we are talking about, so here it is only the disease causing microorganisms, they are known as your pathogens or the germs here. Okay, if you are able to see, that is the germs spread through the contaminated water. This is just because if you are able to see that people are collecting the water bottles and various other things, people, in spite of so many precautions, safety measures, instructions from the government, public authorities, and various other peoples. Still, there are many peoples who are not going to listen to them. They are going to contaminate, they are going to pollute the river, waters, and everything. If you are able to see, this is a flowing river is there. Okay, one person is filling his water bottles from that, and some of the persons, they are even releasing their undigested waste from the body as well. That is, they are doing toilets as well here only. So what happens if they are doing the toilets, then these same toilets may get mixed with the water, and when the water, it flows from one place to another, and if it comes in contact with the healthy person, chances are there that they may get infected with some or the other kinds of diseases here. Okay, the next is, let us start with this. Okay, how the germs are spread? Okay, so the germs are spread primarily through air, water, food, or the direct contact. Okay, let us talk about how through the air, when we are breathing, And if some or the other harmful microbes or the germs are present in our atmosphere, and when they enter into our body, so they can cause various kinds of diseases. Whereas if we talk about the water, so just now I told you, that is, if our water gets contaminated, then the with the help of this water only, if the same water gets is being consumed by the healthy person or by the normal person, then he or she may start suffering from some or the other kinds of diseases. Food or the direct contact. See, now food example, the picture has been given here. Okay, suppose you can imagine that a housefly is there. That housefly sits on some of the dirty material like cow dung or some other places where there is a waste which is being thrown there. Okay, and that same housefly comes from the cow dung and sits on your food, chapati or the rice or the pulses or anything like that. Okay, so what will happen, that is, when the houseflies and other insects, they used to sit at dirty places, these harmful bacteria or the germs, they get stick to the body of these insects or the housefly. And when these insects or housefly, they come and sit on your food particles, then these food particles also, and the bacteria, they get transferred from the body of that housefly to the food. And when that contaminated food is being consumed, then we start suffering from some or the other kinds of diseases. Okay, moving ahead with this, we have some more things here. Through contaminated food and water, just now I told you. Okay, now, germs grow on the stale food. Stale food means what? That is the food which is being left for a longer period of time, or basically which is not hot as well. Okay, flies, cockroaches, rats, they carry germs from the dirt, garbage, sewer, infect our food and water. Okay, and this infected food and water may cause various kinds of diseases like your cholera, dysentery, and your typhoid as well. Okay, so even the germs, if they are present in our food as well, and if it is being getting consumed, so we may also start suffering from diarrhea. Okay, diarrhea is what? Something that is when we are frequently passing through watery stool, that is, frequently we are going to the toilets and a watery stool is being passed, that condition is known as your diarrhea. It is important to have a good standard of sanitation to prevent the spread of the communicable diseases. That is, if you are not going to practice sanitation, we are going to face some or the other kinds of problems there. Okay, so it is very necessary to follow the different sanitation practices so that we as well as our family may remain safe from various kinds of diseases which are caused by these bacteria or the fungi. Okay, so this is there. All right. So it's about to be half an hour going to be there. So let us stop it till here only, or let us complete this part at least through direct contact. Okay, let us complete it till here. Okay, let us complete this. Okay, through the air, when we are talking about, so just now I told you about the common cough and cold, viral infections, and the tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is also known as TB. Okay, remember, it is not TB, it is TB. Okay, so these are released into the air when a sick person sneezes or coughs, and if that virus is being taken in through the breathing process by the healthy person, he or she may also start suffering from the same disease. Okay, through contact with a sick person, all of us we know, that is in the case of chickenpox, measles, ringworms. Okay, if you are touching the same person who is suffering from these diseases, you may also start suffering from the same disease because of the transfer of the bacteria or the germs from the infected person to the healthy person who is touching them. Not only touching the direct infected person, even if you are using the belongings of that person's, any belongings like clothes, handkerchief, towels, bottles, water bottles, anything like that of that infected person, chances are there that you may also get infected. Through insect bites, in the case of insect bites, two very important are there from examination point of view, that is your malaria and dengue. In the case of malaria, this is caused when the female anopheles mosquito bites. Okay, whereas in the case of dengue we have female aedes mosquito. Okay, so this was there for today. Okay, next we'll be doing in the next class. All right, this one. See, female anopheles mosquito and female aedes mosquito. Dengue is spread by aedes mosquito, and uh, malaria is caused by the female anopheles mosquito. So remember these two, the important names are there. This is the table which has been given, which is having all the different types of the microbes which are causing the diseases, or the common diseases which are there, which are caused by different kinds of the microbes here. Okay, so this was all for today. Okay, in the next class we'll be going ahead with some more things here. Okay, so till then, take care. Question answers and everything I'll be providing you very soon. Okay, no need to worry for that, so that simultaneously you can complete your chapters as well in your fair copy. You can start writing down the define the keywords, that is define the following terms. You can write down that. Okay, so and question answers most probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow I'll be uploading in the e-content, from where you can get the access and you can start writing your fair copies as well. Okay, so this was all for today. Thank you everyone and have a superb day ahead. Thank you.